Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Thursday, September 8th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple of clarification points. Number one, the price you see here will be moving around, and the candlestick you see right there, as they're called, will be moving around. That is because the market is still open for a small amount of time, but I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then next, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks will represent 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, IMRA. What a monster move this thing has gone on. And the best part about this is, well, at least in my opinion, the best part is just such a well-defined breakout point right up there at $2.03. And let me be very clear, I'm not trying to impress you with my skills. I'm not trying to imply that that was a great discovery on my part. A lot of people have noticed 203. And I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same level and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So there's no such thing as a guarantee, but is it valid? Is it plausible to think that if the price comes up here and breaks up through that 203 mark, that could in and of itself create quite a bit of upwards buying pressure? That is absolutely a plausible outcome that could very well play out. As far as levels of support, if there's some sort of pullback, interesting level from that angle right down there at $1.75. But like I said, in my opinion, that 203 mark I think is the most interesting dynamic. So let's see if the price can indeed get the breakout of that level on Thursday. Next one, GSAT had a huge explosive move here with news and Apple. Things have settled down here a little bit, but there's now some very well-defined levels, and I know a lot of people are watching this one talking about it because of that Apple news. But the main dynamic here, and seemingly the level that I think a lot of people will be watching as that key breakout point, right there at $2.25, approximately speaking. You can see right there, rejected the price, and then right there presented some problems. Now, to be fair, when the price did break above it right there, huge move occurred, but that didn't last for that long, and then back down it went. And then you can see right there is where it went back to acting as resistance. But point here being is, 225, we'll call it that self-fulfilling prophecy point, is that area, right? You got to think a lot of people are watching it, and if the price can get back up there and then push up through it, that would be a signal that another round of buying could show up. As far as areas of support are concerned, the level here that I would definitely call very, very important is down here at $1.80. And I'm not saying this will occur, but just for explanation's sake, if the price were to come down to $1.80 and then fall down below it, what would that be doing to the price at that point? That would quite literally be putting the price right back to where it was at these lows. And not to insult your intelligence, but price movements with genuine power are not going to go back to where they were, right? They're going to at least show some forms of progress in the upwards direction. So by staying up above $1.80, that would represent a sign of progress. But yeah, eventful day today. Let's see if this carries into Thursday. Next one, ALNA, and this is a very sketchy looking chart. It very well could be game over, but that is a two-sided coin because maybe it's not game over and maybe this big pullback here is just an overblown panic sell-off and this thing is getting ready to return back upwards. But this is where certainly risk management matters a whole lot because you don't want to be the person that gets there stuck holding the bag because you refuse to cut losses and honor risk. So as far as the level that I think stands out quite a bit, right down here at 7 cents for the same logic that we just had, where if the price comes down here and can't even hold 7, then that's putting the price literally right back to where it all started, not actually a sign of strength. But if the price does come down here and can bounce around and then get a, move back upwards. Now, I'm not even saying it's got to go back up to those highs, but even if it makes a halfway decent bounce relative to what's being risked, so once again, assuming you're going to manage risk and have that part of your trade plan, but relative to what's being risked, you could look at a very nice potential upside reward. So if you do like to play penny stocks, if you do like to play situations where it's looking like it might be game over, but maybe you want to take a nice little tight stop loss type trade with a good potential upside, then I'd say definitely keep this one on your watch list. Next one here, AMC, interesting situation, although this will mean a bit more to those who have watched past videos. But if you have watched past videos, hopefully you remember me talking about that purple line over and over again, which, is not too shocking. It is a very well-known, very famous 50-period moving average. And you can see that, wouldn't you know it, that's right where the bounce finally got rejected here. But in and of itself, that does bring about a very unique situation because you got to give credit where credit's due. To think at one point the price was down here and now it's bounced all the way up there, yes, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. Step number one, of course, being getting above that 50-period moving average. But you also have to acknowledge the fact that this was still a very impressive bounce. So it makes it logical. It makes it valid. Let me just get rid of that line as it served its purpose. But it does make it very, very valid to throw out the question, okay, that bounce here, is this the start of something bigger? Now, to be fair, maybe it's not. maybe this thing just rolls right back over. But as I said earlier, it is a two-sided coin because, well, maybe it is, and this thing just keeps grinding and grinding higher and higher. But if this is going to be the start of something bigger, then there are those two main tests that need to be cleared. First test we already talked about. Number one right there, that 50-period moving average. And then number two up there, that secondary area of resistance at $8.67. But if the price does indeed get up through those levels, then still there will be more work to be done, but it becomes a much more plausible, a much more, you'd have a stronger argument to try to argue that, okay, the bulls are back and this bounce actually has genuine strength behind it. Because as of right now, it's very, it's more likely than not, given the past trend of things, that this is just simply a dead cat bounce. Doesn't mean that this one is for sure dead cat bounce, but when all the other past bounces have, like I said, you got to just err on the side of probabilities. But that's why those areas of resistance are important, because if the price can get up through those levels, then that would certainly be a step in the right direction. Next one here, AVCT, and I imagine this will be the last time I do this one for a while, because the only reason I had been tracking it was because you had a very valid, a very interesting setup where the price just continued to bounce off that pink line, the 200-period moving average, bounce there, was bouncing there, and then including the last 30 minutes of Tuesday, got a nice bounce. So that entire time, it remained in play of, okay, maybe some sort of double bottom. Like, maybe now some sort of triple bottom pattern. But we got our answer today. The bulls just ran out of steam, and the price has now dropped back down below that level, which basically breaks the pattern, breaks everything that was, being talked about. Now, to be fair, maybe this thing all of a sudden comes roaring back to life and gets up here, and okay, at that point, there's something new to talk about. But as of now, it's essentially kind of game over for the time being. If there are any sort of, bounces, then, just basic technical analysis, which states when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So with any sort of bounce, that pink line there, 200-period moving average at 21 cents will now be that main area of resistance. But yeah, as far as, kind of the chart, I would now officially say it's broken. Real quick, wanted to pause and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online training that I'm offering very soon. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to make good decisions as a trader and to build consistency, then certainly get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link in the description box to click on. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you're on right now that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to take your understanding to another level and use it to build consistency, then certainly get signed up for the free class. Next one, SPRO, and a very, very solid pattern, very interesting situation here, mainly because of this last 30 minutes, which, like I said, why I like to do these when the market's still open, because we're witnessing right now this green candle potentially get even bigger and bigger. And while not gigantic volume, it's certainly bigger volume than what was here all afternoon long. But the point is the price is starting to come back to life. So it brings about the valid question. Let me first get this level mapped out, because this will be at least the main level in my mind. Right up here at $1.45, key level of resistance, you can see rejected there and a couple of times right there. But now because of this last 30 minutes breaking out, we can throw out the question, hey, is this the start of a new breakout? And that's what a watch list is all about, to find unique, to find interesting situations, and not randomly rush out and buy anything, but to watch it and see if it behaves in a way that ultimately fits your strategy and your risk tolerance. So if you are somebody that likes to play breakouts, well, then here is one where maybe, just maybe, a breakout is coming. And that's, we can call that our self-fulfilling prophecy point. So if it breaks through that level, guaranteed breakout? No, of course not. You know that by now. But is it valid to think that a break at that level could create upside buying pressure? Absolutely. And then the final part about this is you have this pattern with a nice upsloping trend line that was formed throughout the entire day. So kind of just a little minor bonus right there that you have a good solid ascending triangle pattern here, and not just a question of can the price get back up to $1.45 and break through it. Let's see what happens. Next, NIO, very, very crazy day today. It did have earnings, which explains this first opening 30-minute candle. Truly all over the place. Big gap down, all the way up there, then back down here. And then after that, things kind of chilled out and it consolidated. But within consolidating, created a very, very nice pattern here. So 100%, once again, one of these self-fulfilling prophecy type areas, because I assure you a lot of people have drawn on that trend line. But the one thing to keep in mind is that even if the trend line is broken, be very careful, because not that far away is that purple line, the 50-period moving average, which you can see right there has already rejected the price down. I'm not saying that if the price breaks the trend line, it's for sure going to fail because you have that 50-period moving average. I'm just saying that based on the nature of the chart right now and how that moving averages moves, it's just one of those things where it just so happens that the trend line break still presents a problem because you have that moving average not that far away from it. So just keep that in mind from a resistance standpoint. And then as far as levels of support are concerned, key level to watch right here around the $17.15 mark. But in my mind, I think the level that most people will be watching is going to be all about that trend line and the 50-period moving average. So let's see if the bulls can get that breakout or not. Next one, QNRX, and this, I should have put this one at a different location in the watch just because it follows the premise of ugly situations, but if you manage that risk, then you can have a nice little small risk compared to the potential upside reward. And this is really just a gap close play. The gap close being right down here around the 350, 355 area, and kind of reverse of what we just talked about. Even if that support is broken, not that far below, you do have that 50-period moving average. So even if you wanted to maybe try to make an entry point more so at that 50-period moving average, then I can see the logic there. But like I said, from a broader sense and just from a watch list standpoint in the sense of, hey, interesting situation, and let's watch and see what happens. Very clearly had a great move. And yeah, there has been a bigger pullback. But if you're someone that's saying, you know, I think there's a good chance that this is actually a healthy pullback and not the beginning of something much further to the downside, then you can structure yourself a nice risk versus reward pattern, and excuse me, not pattern, but trade plan based on this pattern here that's forming. You know, if the price can pull back here just a bit more to right around this gap close location. So if you like to play, you know, sub $5 stocks, like to play these pullback type situations, then here you go. Next one, TSLA, Tesla, and just a huge move today. This will mean a bit more to those that watched yesterday's video, but if you did, I talked about that area of resistance right there. You can see opening 30 minutes, got the break of that resistance. A little bit of consolidating right here after the break, and then all afternoon long, just kept grinding higher and higher. So a good, strong day here for Tesla, and updates definitely need to be made. So let me get rid of those lines as they've served their purpose for now. But as far as next key levels to watch here moving forward, first overarching level going to be all about that pink line up there, the 200-period moving average valued, let's just call it right now at $288. So keep a close eye on that resistance-wise. And the other interesting dynamic here is that the price is also peeking its head up above that resistance level right there. So yeah, a little bit of a minor breakout there is occurring, which makes it, you know, that much more interesting. So you have a miniature breakout underway, and now you have that next potential hurdle to keep an eye on. From a support standpoint, two main levels stand out. First one being the bottom part of this consolidation right there at 277, and then purple line there, 50-period moving average. But yeah, no doubt about it, very, very impressive afternoon, whole lot of strength. And does this strength and momentum carry into tomorrow and bring it all the way up to that 200-period moving average, if not even push up through there? Let's see what happens. Next one here, AAL, and this is exactly why I want to put this one after Tesla, because Tesla still had to worry about that 200-period moving average, but you can see AAL did a fantastic job of getting up to it and then breaking up through it, which prompts the question, is this going to spark that much more upside momentum? Maybe it doesn't. As always, as I've said, two-sided coins. So yeah, maybe it doesn't, but well, maybe it does, and this thing just keeps ripping and roaring. So I did want to get the next key overarching area of resistance mapped out, which sits up there around $14.45. So $14.45, just making sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, that definitely seems to be the next overarching level, given that it's cleared through that 200-period moving average. As far as levels of support are concerned, if there are any sort of pullbacks, first key level to watch right here at $13.70. And then after that, next key level down there at right around $13.50. But yeah, all in all, very, very impressive day. Big volume, big breakout, including getting up through that 200-period moving average. So let's see if that is a spark to keep this momentum moving. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about the tool, then certainly get signed up for the free training. Like I said, it'll be very soon, Thursday, September 8th. At 7 p.m. Eastern time, so I hope to see you there. If you enjoy this format, if you would like for me to continue to make these top 10 videos, then please do two things for me. Hit that like button and leave a comment. For the comment, tell me what you traded today. Tell me what you're watching tomorrow. Give me a request that maybe I'll consider for tomorrow's watch list. But those two things communicate to me that you're enjoying. As long as I know people are enjoying, I'll continue to put in the time and effort required to get this content out to you. So again, get signed up for the free training. Hit that like button. Leave a simple comment below. Thanks for watching. Take care.